Pioneer Community High School. My name is Caleb Kozaborski, and welcome back to your weekly weather forecast, number 6. Let's hop right into next week. So, for the week of September 30th, 2024, we start on Monday. Not too many after-school events going on, which is a surprise for most Mondays. But we start very comfortable temperatures with a high of high 70s and a low of mid-50s. So, it kind of feels like almost like summer, which is really weird for it getting into October. But Tuesday, we have a little bit of inconsistent temperatures throughout this week. So Tuesday we have field hockey versus St. Ignatius, I believe, and that's a high of high 60s and a low of mid 40s. It's getting a little bit colder. Wednesday, once again, field hockey again versus DePaul Prep. Around the same temperatures with a high of high 60s and a low of mid 40s. Thursday, we have 2 games against Lakes. Varsity girls volleyball and varsity boys soccer. For that, very comfortable, very nice, just like Monday again, with a high of high 70s and low of mid 50s. Friday, that's Friday Night Lights versus Grace Lake North here at Antioch. Will be probably one of the coldest days that we have out of this week, which really sucks in terms of dressing for themes or anything, but bring an extra layer, be comfortable when we watch the game. For that, we have a high of high 50s and a low of low 40s. Saturday, there's a cross-country invitational over here. And for that, similar to Friday, a high of high 50s and a low of low 40s. And then for Sunday, a high of high 60s and a low of low 40s. So very inconsistent temperatures. Some days might feel like fall, other days feel like summer. And to show that, for overall temperature probability, it will be above average because all those days that have the high 70s, that's very above average in terms of October and September kind of weather. And for the precipitation, you're going to see not many places getting a lot of rain. I know we've had the tropical storm, tropical system, the hurricane, the major hurricane, Category 4, Hurricane Helene. That brought a ton of rain down south. But for this week, super dry across the Midwest, even getting into the West, and for us, once again, very below average. I believe that we got out of our abnormally dry, but we may start to return to that. So going on once again to the Atlantic and Pacific hurricane season so far. So here we are in the Atlantic Basin, much more active than it was last week. This is being recorded as of Friday. So here's Tropical storm now, Helene, I guarantee it's now remnants of, so that means that it's fully dissipated, at least tropical-wise. But we have Hurricane Isaac and Tropical Storm Joyce, along with 2 areas, not like points of interest, but areas that will be conductive for tropical weather once again. We're kind of getting in, we've actually passed peak season, but this is still very active in terms of that, and we may see another system go into the Gulf. Obviously, that's not what you would want right after Hurricane Helene, but that's what I have to deal with, and that's what I forecast. Going on to the Pacific, John is alive and kicking once again. He impacted this area as a Category 3 hurricane, got pushed back out into the water, and strengthened back into a hurricane, and now is a tropical storm that will dissipate within the next coming days. Now, as I mentioned, Hurricane Helene impacted Florida as of Thursday night, extreme Thursday night, okay? This was a Category 4 hurricane, and for this area, the Big Bend portion of Florida, historically unprecedented. Going on to the preliminary Hurricane Helene reports and recap, because once again, when I'm recording this a day after the impact happened, there's so many things that are still unknown, especially with fatalities. I know last time I checked, it was 20 officially, and that is expected to grow, unfortunately. But in terms of the meteorological standpoint, Helene made landfall as a Category 4 hurricane with maximum wind speeds of 140 miles per hour. To put that into perspective, that's about 15 miles per hour off of a Category 5. So in terms of high-end, low-end Category 4, this is about in the middle. It impacted the Big Bend portion of Florida, which is the first time since we started recording hurricane data, which was 1850, that a major hurricane or hurricane in general has impacted that portion of Florida. The Big Bend portion has Tallahassee, Florida, and some other small communities along the coastline. But unfortunately, in terms of landfalling hurricanes for the U.S., this is the 7th Category 4 or higher hurricane to impact the U.S. in 8 years. That is a new record in terms of the amount of intense and dangerous hurricanes that have been consistently impacting us, more so around the Gulf, because it's a lot harder to get a hurricane to impact like the East Coast. Obviously, Florida, you could get a hurricane on the East Coast of Florida, but most of these dangerous hurricanes, they get into the Gulf and it's just a boiling pot in there. So they get all their instability and they instantly rapidly intensify and become those major hurricanes that impact all of our cities and towns along the Gulf edge. Now also, storm surge, as I mentioned with the email that I was sending out, from what I've seen, at least like reports wise, as high as 15 feet. But we still have official reports yet to arrive. So I've seen like unofficial videos from people and like reports from storm chasers who went to the hurricane, which is very dangerous. But in terms of what I know, 15 feet around that, places in Tallahassee and that area, once again, that's where you get most of the water. But even places in Tampa, which is all the way on that west coast of the Florida peninsula, still got anywhere from 5 to 8 feet of water just from the storm surge from a hurricane that's not even going towards them. It kind of brushed by them. Now also with this, hurricanes and tornadoes kind of go together. You can get a ton of tornadoes with hurricanes, but it's not too common. However, with this, a lot of tornadoes actually with Hurricane Helene. From what I saw and what I was tracking, we had tornadoes along the Florida Peninsula, even into the Panhandle, both Carolina coasts and just Carolinas in general, and even Georgia. So once again, the tornadoes pretty widespread, and for most tropical tornadoes, not too strong. I know we had a Category 3 hurricane that made an EF3 tornado, but that was about a day or two after it actually made landfall. With Hurricane Helene, most tornadoes actually were occurring as landfall was also occurring. So very concurrent issues with that. That obviously becomes an issue when you have water rising and heavy rain, heavy winds as well. But also, in terms of power outages, I was just tracking this. Anywhere from 4 million people reported to have no power as a result of this storm. So places along both Carolinas, Georgia, and Florida mainly. I know Florida had, I think, 1.7 million people without power, once again along that Big Bend portion of Florida. So once again, very dangerous hurricane, and I'll try and get more information out to all of you. And to end off on this weekly weather forecast number 6, let's hop into some weather history again with Hurricane Matthew. That's October 4th, 2016, I believe a Category 4 hurricane. But that is your weekly weather forecast number 6.